In your book, you do talk about the foods that are most inflammatory, the foods that are most anti-inflammatory, and you have this, what I mentioned was this 10-step approach to reducing it. Can you list the 10-step approach so we can get kind of an overview before we get deeper down into the
Sure.
specifics?
Sure.
And
So we want to first always start off with eating an organic, non-GMO, plant-based, what we would consider the anti-inflammatory diet. So that's just general. Everybody's got to go plant-based. And even in then, I want to make sure that people know that whole foods plant-based is the gold standard, but I shift a lot of my patients because, it all depends on access, income, availability. Some people live in food deserts. Some people don't even know how the skill of cooking. And so I don't even mind using transition foods in the beginning because the data will even show plant-based processed foods, although it still has issues, is still healthier than grass-fed, organic, and wild-caught animal proteins. That study was
Healthier
done.
meaning less inflammatory in this.
Less inflammatory, has no cholesterol, still has a little bit of fiber, still has phytonutrients, right? So even shifting people is important because it's a jump, right, in lifestyle when people kind of move over and say, hey, you need to eat, it's better to eat this way, and they're so it's a training, right? We've been eating one way for decades, so we use kind of the transition foods, and then we kind of then modify based on their food sensitivities, and then we go completely whole food plant-based because then they want to get better. First, though, we have to kind of have this negotiation, right, from those patients. It's like, what is going to make me feel better? Because no one's talked about this. My doctor just says take this drug indefinitely. I'm like, well, why is this indefinite? Like, why isn't there, there should be a turnaround on the road to disease. And there is. You can reverse heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. We can improve outcomes in all our patients, but it's a set of a variety of things. And so eating a whole food, non-GMO, anti-inflammatory diet's the first thing. Second thing is, like we talked about, is testing, what is triggering those inflammatory responses in your body. Third thing will be detoxification. And we do something called Ayurvedic medicine here in our practice. And my partner, Dr. Maureen Sutton, she's the Ayurvedic doctor here. We do Panchakarma, which is the traditional Ayurvedic ways. That's the word where actually detoxification comes from. Avoiding smoking is another step. Avoiding non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, which are like ibuprofens and naproxens, and there's a whole section on black box warnings. We can talk about that a little bit later. Decreasing inflammation by using natural anti-inflammatories like Bosmeric SR. This next step, number 7, would be increasing the immune system functioning. So looking at vitamin D levels, or taking like, glucan 300, other things like even heart rate variability, stress reduction, meditation. The next step is maintaining glucose levels and avoiding excess salt and sugar. And if you've been following the news recently, the Congress is moving forward at looking at a new law that's going to be removing the amounts of sodium that's put in packaged foods. 500,000 people a year are dying from excess salt intake, and I think it's 1.8 million, all the stuff worldwide. So it's huge issues that we can just cut down on, just putting, even in plant-based foods, anything that's packaged, particularly frozen foods, just salt is the kind of stabilizer, the preservative that's cheap. And so that's something that, we definitely, those things are still pro-inflammatory, salt and sugar, excess of that. And then my 9th step is stress reduction through meditation and yoga. That's other ways that we actually can decrease inflammation by reducing the stress, and also increasing our immune system functioning, natural killer cell functioning, just doing breathing techniques or meditation or mindfulness every day. And then the last step is love and happiness, social relationships, faith, and spiritual practices, because we know that that's the other part of belief system. And so it's not just, diet only. If someone's stressed out or they feel lonely, like during the pandemic, so many people just kind of felt isolated, and so bringing that community back is also anti-inflammatory, having some kind of understanding or belief system that your body has an innate ability to heal itself. We just need to give it the tools that it needs to do that.